Well, hey everybody. I bet you thought I disappeared. Whew, it has been my intent to stay better connected to you all this semester. Things just haven't worked out that way, and I really want to apologize. Thanks to many of you who have reached out to me recently saying that you were missing our Chairside chats, or can you imagine that? Missing having to listen to me talk to you. Um, yeah, thanks for reaching out, and I'm sorry that I haven't stayed better connected. I am working diligently trying to get caught up on all the things that I have fallen behind in for my workload. And, it just seems like with unexpected faculty hospitalizations, faculty illness, faculty dealing with loss of significant others, I just seem to be plugging holes all over the place. And I've reached out to a couple of you lately to help me plug those holes because I just can't do it. As far as coverage all by myself. So, well, this is our Chairside chat for weeks 4, 5, 6, and I really intended to have 4, 5, 6, but now I'm going to say this is weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we are rapidly approaching the beginning of week 8 in about a little over 2.5 hours. The didactic faculty, you will need to execute and document in Beacon your mid-course connection meeting. So if you want to know what that is on your day in the life of the didactic faculty role on our resource website, it says that you are responsible for the mid-course connection meeting. Here is a tutorial about that. If you want to know more about what that is and why we do it, here is the SOP, and here is the link to the tutorial again. Clinical faculty, this week, you are going to need to make a connection with your students' preceptors to make sure that their performance is where it should be. You're also going to need to check in Typhon to make sure that your students' preceptors have completed their midterm evaluation of your students' performance. Based on some unfortunate circumstances last semester, we are requiring that the clinical faculty make a live connection with the preceptor at least once over the course of semester. And we would like an additional touch point or two where you close the loop with email communications. We cannot have any instances where a clinical faculty has not made a connection with a preceptor, either through email with a response or phone connections. We have a student who basically falsified an entire clinical experience. Fortunately, we had 2 students at that clinical site, and when the preceptor got in there to close the loop for everything for the one student who was making it to clinical, they saw where the other student had put in encounters that they had never had and documented hours that they had never attended. And so that student is facing disciplinary actions as we speak. So we absolutely have to have documentation of that. We are working on a platform by which you can document that as a virtual site visit. More to come about that once we get that platform ready and available so that we can have a better documentation process for all of the connections that we are making with our clinical site partners. So the other thing that went out to the didactic faculty this week was the same page for discussion thread evaluations. If you've not reviewed that, please do so. By now, all of your students have completed their first diagnostic reasoning paper, and I believe in 627, your students are completing their second one at the end of this week that's coming to a close. It is imperative that the faculty person evaluating those diagnostic reasoning papers utilize the rubric that is embedded in the course grade center. No just inputting points, you must use the rubric. This week, all of your students have their discussion thread activities, didactic faculty now know the view that the department has decided to utilize relative to the standardized rubric. When a student fails to properly paraphrase or copies and pastes, the university provost, Dr. Kitty Kautzer, our online dean, Dr. Kelly May, and the director for faculty effectiveness, Jane Cobian, will be meeting the first week of November in an attempt to get better guidelines to the faculty relative to the plagiarism playbook that became very uncomfortable for students when we started looking at that with a fine-tooth comb, which they had never been subjected to technically. And not that the university does not want to move in that direction, but we have had curriculum issues that didn't support that, and we're going to not have the students be the individuals to kind of suffer because we've decided to change stream on them, some of them in the last semester of their program. So we're going to have a cohesive approach to that until the university leadership comes up with another process for that. I'm still working on faculty observations. I'm looking at how you evaluate the discussion thread activities, utilizing your rubrics, how you are evaluating your students' clinical diagnostic reasoning papers, utilizing the rubric, and the type of feedback and evaluation processes that you are executing in this Type-On platform. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I am so sorry that I've been remiss in reaching out. I will make an attempt to be better at that, and know that we are in hopes of posting some new full-time faculty type roles in the upcoming months, because as you can see, the program has grown so much that the workload has increased dramatically, and I am falling short on my performance desires, and technically speaking, probably on my performance expectations from my leadership. I'm doing everything that I can in an attempt to make sure that students are not left holding the bag, and plugging holes where we need to. And those things don't always add up to me being able to do my job because I'm doing my job. And I know you all feel the same things. The program has grown so much. We're going to fortify the troops and bring in the cavalry. So I appreciate your patience through this process. And thanks again for those of you who have reached out and noticed that I had been absent. I appreciate you. I could not do this job without you. And even with all of you, I'm finding it a bit of a stretch to do my job the way I need to. So I appreciate you guys.